Back during the 2016 presidential election, we learned about a lot of interesting information regarding Hillary Clinton's campaign via the DNC leaks. And sadly, a lot of what we learned was not good and extremely problematic. For instance, we learned from an email sent by Robbie Mook, Hillary's campaign manager during her 2016 run for presidency, that Hillary's campaign was trying to rig the primary schedule in Hillary's favor. Specifically, Robbie said, "Had a great meeting with Berman today. We discussed him taking the lead on the strategy outlined in his memo. 1. Seeing if we can get Massachusetts and Vermont to push their primaries back. 2. Keep the big blue states, New York, New Jersey, California, etc., from moving their primaries earlier. And 3. Trying to get Louisiana and West Virginia to join Super Tuesday. As we discussed in New York, keeping the red states early makes sense if she has a primary, as long as there isn't a primary competitor winning significant AA votes, but also increases the likelihood the R's nominate someone extreme. We agreed that if she gets a significant primary challenger, we need to consider changing course and getting New York, New Jersey, and maybe others to move their dates earlier to give her hefty early wins. Jeff is going to put together action items for each state that we will review. We may need allies to help in this process, but we're going to look at each state one step at a time, limiting as much as possible the perception of direct intervention by the principals." For the record, Robbie sent this email to Cheryl Mills, who was Hillary's senior advisor and counsel for Hillary's 2008 run for presidency, David Plouffe, who was Barack Obama's campaign manager during Obama's 2008 run for president, and John Podesta, Hillary's campaign chair during her 2016 run for president. And also for the record, Robbie sent this email in 2014, which is before both Hillary and Bernie announced their run for presidency. This email is a really bad look for Hillary's campaign, and this is completely unacceptable. They were trying to rig the Democratic primary in terms of the schedule. They wanted to have red states go early. Robbie said it makes sense to do this if Hillary has a primary, save for one caveat. I honestly don't understand what the caveat is though, because I do not know what he means by AA votes. But anyways, I think Robbie said that it makes sense to keep the red states early because quote-unquote red states are more likely to be pro-Hillary because she is a more conservative candidate. If the red states went early, that figured to give her a huge advantage early on, because she would be put in a good position to get a big lead early on in the primaries. Then she could try and force her challenger out of the race early on, as a result, or at the very least demoralize her competition. As it turns out, a lot of conservative states did hold their primaries early on in the Democratic primaries, and Hillary capitalized on this schedule and built a really big lead as a result. Now Bernie Sanders did end up making quite the comeback, and made the race very competitive, but it's definitely fair to wonder how much the primary schedule, which really favored Hillary early on, impacted the race. This is just wrong. Regardless of whether or not Hillary's campaign actually ended up being successful in their bid to influence the schedule of the primaries, the intent here is what really matters. Just the fact that they tried to rig the schedule is bad enough. Hey guys, if you want to help out this show, you can follow our various social media links. Also, we have a Facebook group that you can join as well. And if you want to follow me on social media, you could do that as well. Alright guys.